The OnePlus 7 Pro was one of the finest smartphones of 2019, and it really is a triumphant device that has us reassessing just what value we place on premium smartphones. This is our re-review of the flagship killing flagship. Thanks for watching 95 Google on YouTube. Be sure to thumbs up, hit subscribe, and then enable notifications with the bell icon so that you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. As a true entry into flagship territory, there is so much that OnePlus managed to get right about the 7 Pro. The design is simply stunning, if a little large at times. That large frame is dominated by that notchless 90Hz QHD Plus display. And with that in mind, it's still one of the best displays on a smartphone. Yes, some complain about those curves at the edges, but when using it, everything else melts away. Let's hope that OnePlus has helped push high refresh rates to the masses more than Razer was able to do so with their Razer smartphone line. In our opinion, the design is stellar, and while the less widely available OnePlus 7T Pro has a slightly nicer colour shifting look, the Nebula Blue still stands out from the crowd. Because of that, it's such a shame to put the OnePlus 7 Pro in a case because of that stunning rear panel finish. Even without a case, it's a durable glass sandwich that I've not had to baby too much, but you might pick up scuffs on the metal side bezels if you are a little less careful. The side bezels also do hide that pop-up camera, which does break up those clean bezels somewhat, but even after 6 months of semi-regular use, it sits nice and flush with no problems, which of course was a concern just after launch. Having released with Android Pie, the OnePlus 7 Pro has since been updated to Android 10 with OxygenOS 10.01 on top, and given the fact that you've got the Snapdragon 855 chipset and at least 6GB of RAM and that super fast UFS 3.0 storage, this phone is simply blistering and, dare I say it, better than it was at launch. Of course, those internals work in tandem with that 90Hz display to give you an experience that feels faster than even the Pixel 4, and yes, that is impressive. Of course, the 7T Pro has a marginally faster 855 Plus chip, but I honestly cannot see a difference in performance between the two smartphones on the day-to-day. What's more, in the long term you can expect an update to Android 11, and considering just how light the changes are in OxygenOS alongside that top tier specs, the performance should be just as good as it is now, provided you stay on the stable update path. Of course, I have stuck on that stable update path, and in the 6 or so months since release, OnePlus has brought about some sizable improvements in the camera, which proved to be one of the weakest elements of the OnePlus 7 Pro at launch. That said, it still isn't quite up to the levels you'll see from the Pixel and Samsung Galaxy line, although this is a very capable triple camera setup that you can take solid stills with in great lighting conditions. It does stumble a little in low light, and even the upgrades to Nightscape haven't really made a huge difference, but for the most part, images are sharp, have good contrast and dynamic range, and I've been very happy with them. I do hope that OnePlus can keep tweaking though, as the hardware is more than good enough to really take on the best in the business. I'm less impressed though by the pop-up selfie camera. I do love that it's not there most of the time, taking up space on that display, but the results are not especially brilliant, even with 6 months of software updates. Video on the OnePlus 7 Pro remains excellent, but we have yet to receive an update that adds ultra-wide-angle video recording support, although if you are on the beta program, support has been added in beta 1, but it is limited to 1080p at 30 FPS. Hopefully we'll see it on a stable update in the future. Of course, all of these things do add up to a superb experience that has actually improved dramatically since release. However, some things have become more apparent in the battery stakes. I'm still getting solid battery life, but the lack of wireless charging has started to become far more apparent of an omission. The 4000 mAh battery does still power me through a day with little to no issues, which was a long-term concern given the power draw of that 90Hz QHD Plus panel. Dipping to 1080p is not something I'm willing to do, but I would imagine it increases battery life further still. Back to wireless charging for a moment, and while I'm hoping OnePlus does add wireless charging on an upcoming smartphone, I can still cope with warp charging. I've completely changed my charging habits when using the OnePlus 7 Pro, as 20 to 30 minutes gives you enough power to get through a day. I tend to just slap the charger on for 35 to 40 minutes and it's ready to go, and that means I don't tend to charge overnight. Of course, I'm still worried what this warp charging may do to the long-term battery life of the OnePlus 7 Pro, but for now it appears to have had no ill effects. So, despite the fact that the OnePlus 7 Pro came out in the early half of 2019, it's still arguably the best value premium smartphone you can pick up at this very early stage of 2020, and even puts many of the other so-called flagship devices released since it was unveiled to shame. It excels in all of the areas that matter most on a daily basis, and it has exceptional performance, an almost unmatched display, and reasonably solid battery longevity that can be topped up in super quick fashion. Given that OnePlus has stuffed the 7 Pro with only the highest spec internals, it should also age like a true champ, and as you likely suspected, is still well worth your money at this early stage of 2020. Of course, if you're using the 7 Pro and you love it or you loathe it, let us know how you're getting on down in the comments section below. We'd love hearing your own input. But until next time, this is Damien with 9to5 Google saying thanks for watching, and I will speak to you later.